Hello, my name is Jeffrey Young, and I'm the translator of Bei Dao's Sidetracks that Carcanet will be publishing. And in the US here, it was published by New Directions. I work as an editor in New Directions. I work as editor at large, editing poetry, fiction, and some nonfiction books. And I also edit some books for New York Review and helped them start the poetry series there in 2013. Bei Dao, I first heard of his work and his involvement in the Tiananmen Square protests as an undergrad, and but it wasn't until graduate school when I was in a translation workshop with Elliot Weinberger and Richard Sieberth that one of their exercises was to translate a poem by Bei Dao, and so that's kind of when I first really started to think about what he was doing in his poetry, and then. As I started to work with New Directions, I met him through his editor there, who was the former president of New Directions. And when he came over here once, I remember he was reading at a festival and he asked if I would read some of his poems in English, the translations. And I did that. And then there was a preface he wrote for a book that I worked on in New Directions by the Chuvash poet Gennady Egi. And Egi is a poet that Bei Dao had said I should read, and I found, a couple chapbooks of his, and we ended up publishing a few books of Egi's at New Directions, and Bei Dao wrote a preface for that, and so I translated that. At one point, I translated one of his essays for Granta, and so I kind of became more familiar with his work over time, reading more of his poetry. Then I was able to work on a couple of his books, editing them in New Directions, and also ended up, he had asked if I would want to translate his autobiography, See the Gate Open Up, which I did, and that is also published by Carcanet and New Directions. And so this is Sidetracks, this long poem, and I don't have the Carcanet edition right now, so I'm going to read a poem from the New Directions edition. But it's Bei Dao's long poem, and he wrote it over about like 11 or so years, and he's never written a long poem before, and so he talks a little bit about that process and how it started in the afterword to the book. And yeah, it took him a long time to do it, and it's divided into 34 cantos, and it kind of moves back and forth throughout his life, but also it brings in a lot of kind of linguistic play that Bei Dao likes to do, and really striking images. There's a lot of kind of montaging throughout, so not just with his own life, but with classical Chinese writings, poets, but also history, and then of course a lot of his travels, because post 1989, after the protests, he wasn't able to return to China, and so he ended up kind of in exile, moving from place to place, where various institutes and universities would give him jobs. And so that was a lot through Europe and then in the US, and a lot of that comes through in this book and in different sections to other writers and poets he meets, Chinese kind of like artists come in their lives, and because Bei Dao too was one of the founding editors of a pivotal magazine in China called Jingtian Today. And through there, they just started to publish a lot of contemporary writers, and it's still going to this day, and is still hugely important, publishing new writers. Yeah, so I think what I'll do, I'll just read one of the poems and I'm seeing if I missed anything else Carcanet wanted me to say about this. Yeah, I'm a poet myself. I think I mentioned I translated Bei Dao's autobiography, yes, and also translated some other things. One book by Liu Xiaobo, June 4th Elegies, and some classical. I started out translating classical Chinese poetry, and also a co-translation with a Uyghur writer, Ahmadjan Osman. So this is one book or one poem from Sidetracks. It's the 12th poem. 1978, autumn in Beijing. The goddess of fate uses sign language to guide us. Countless fists pound Shidan wall, pound on the silent gate of suffering. Crows and posted words cry out together, echoes from our hearts. I am a concrete worker. I am a blacksmith. I am the brother of earth and fire, weeping for my sister Shan Chan's drowned spirit. I swim upstream toward death to be born, traverse the burial mounds of old and new waves. A dog's nose runs into politics, season of empty talk, for flowers to bloom. To scrub away the innocent sky, birds spit out the holes from seeds. Seeds sprout between the cracks of day and night. At last, history has given us a chance. Under the protective shade of an old poplar tree, Huang Rui, Mangke, and I. Half a bottle of ergoto liquor, half a bottle of dark night. Alcohol illuminates green bile. Light the lamps for the dark night clapping all around, while listening to the drumming of the temples. Open the drawer, the dead come alive. Shadows clash against shadows. Open the drawer, pages from a manuscript fly out. The difficulty of recognizing the other when a nameless age in plain clothes spies through the keyhole behind the door. Along the keys of a piano, 1901, catch up to Rachmaninoff's fingers in a small shed near the bell and drum towers. We spin around the naked bulb. The vinyl record replays over and over, drowning out the literary feuds of 1978 until the flames of the sun are quenched by the sea. It's true we had nothing, sipping Rudin's tears together, devoting our lives to freedom, bicycling along Xinjiakou Outer Street, and the youthfulness carved by flowing water. The two of us chose a pen name for each other. Monkey changes form with a wave. He becomes Mangke, I an island slowly eroded by sea. Count the eyes of the traffic lights, welcome the shining wings. Fortune is writing in misfortune. O readers of the sky, let the mountains of lost memories move, let the paths of birds trace the song of the earth. On an out-of-date map of Beijing, in a blind spot where city and countryside converge, a small and filthy Bright Horse River under the ice. A warm, heavy snow covers this moment. 5 folded silhouettes overturn the night through a mimeograph. Thanks.